I'm not sure if you're even aware of the title of this session, right? I tell you, it's European sovereignty and public institutions in the AI era, right? Okay. So while everyone is busy arguing whether AI is going to be the end of us all here in Davos, or save the planet, or just do our homework, we're digging into the real stuff here. Think tax declarations, administration, citizen service centers, and the lean state. So can AI make our public institutions smarter, fairer, and more transparent? I think we'll also talk about Europe playing catch-up again in the AI game and how it should really handle AI. And how much money we would really need to make a serious contribution. So thank you, Rainer, for introducing our guests. I'm not sure if you're aware, this is Christian Lindner. The man
with the oil can. Very fossil.
One additional information, he has been an early and passionate, and this is serious, advocate for AI, right? So well ahead of the curve. Actually, we are really happy that you made it. I saw you in the live stream at ZEIT on Monday with all the yelling farmers where you were giving the speech. So I wasn't sure if you would come. So, and this is Jonas.
I found my voice.
Aleph Alpha, which specializes, let's be nerdy, in foundation models for enterprises and the government, and has recently secured a whopping Series B investment of $500 million. Unfortunately, Jean-Noël Barrot, who's supposed to be here, couldn't come to Davos because he, until yesterday, I didn't check the news today, but he wasn't sure if he will be in the government again. So sorry for that. Let's start with the most trivial example you can imagine, German taxes. Minister Lindner, a high-ranking official from your Ministry of Finance, just told me he uses ChatGPT to prepare his taxes, right? So he's talking to the machine to make his tax preparation. This gives me hope for AI's future in Germany when key figures of the most stringent institutions begin to play with AI. And you yourself, you proposed Easy Tax, something like a year ago. An app designed to make it much easier to make your taxes with AI in it. Can you explain what you were thinking? What's your vision for something like that?
Well, when it comes to tax policies and artificial intelligence, I think there are two opportunities. First, it's similar to coding. Why not allow an AI to propose legislature? Not to make the decision. This is the role for parliament and policymakers, but to improve the architecture of a taxation system, because I'm sure an artificial intelligence will be able way better to understand our tax system than the human intelligence has been able to. And second, when it comes to your personal tax declaration, an artificial intelligence can recognize what is your tax burden. It can understand all your expenditures during a year and can sort out the right tax declaration and prepare it for you. So you will make the decision, you will have to take responsibility for the declaration, but the preparation could be much easier if we use artificial intelligence. Think about all the expenditures you have, you collect all these papers during the year. And now imagine you press one button and a software with artificial intelligence combines all this and presents your tax declaration to you. And this is not the far future. I think this will happen during my time in office. Oh. Not in this legislature, but...
Good luck, good luck, good luck. Are you sure? that this really works. So if you talk to the experts in your ministry, for example, they are like, oh, we have 99 problems to have a legal...
No, we have 16 problems.
16?
Called Länder.
And all these tax systems in Germany, it's all against the law. If we really do it, if we really want to make it, we have to change a lot of things, right?
Well, as I just explained, we have to be more agile when it comes to policy making. And the German taxation system is extremely complicated because we want to have a solution for every single case. And so we made regulations for every specific case. And so there is, even in the Ministry of Finance in Germany, there is no expert for our tax system. There are a lot of experts for every little detail, but there is no overall experience.
I know the feeling.
And artificial intelligence could be the key to unlock the future of an easier taxation without making a revolution out of the system, but to allow improvement by artificial intelligence. And I think the advantage is in the application of the taxation system, because you don't need an advisor, a tax advisor. You have a software.
It's not allowed to have a tax advisor sponsored by your ministry, right?
No, this is not allowed. No.
Just asking.
Yeah. But it's not allowed to sponsor a tax advisor, but you can pay for him or her. No.
Can you name, so you're playing around with first AI applications at the moment. There are chatbots doing something like customs declarations or consulting you in filling them out and stuff like that. Can you give us an overview? You're spending a lot of money at the moment in this sphere. What you're doing?
Well, I take this as a compliment when you say we are spending a lot of money.
No, we come to that later.
Yeah, because my feeling is we are doing too little and
very good.
Too slow.
Yes, that's right.
So this is my view.
Yeah,
too little, too slow. But we are doing a lot, but we should do more. Well, we have founded an AI competence center in the Ministry of Finance, and we are looking for applications to use it in exactly the customs administration. I don't know if you all are familiar. If you have to declare some goods to customs, it's extremely complicated. There are cheats. Which good is declared in which way, and an artificial intelligence could identify the good and could immediately find the right way to declare customs. Would even help Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He paid 35K, if I remember.
Only because of the expensive
really ugly
Swiss watch. Yeah.
Your fault, right? So you're the guy responsible for charging Arnold 35K at the
yes, but it was not a fault. It's just the law. And even if you are a VIP, the law is, for ordinary people and VIPs all the same.
Okay. Great campaign for the German customs team.
If you are looking for a job, it's a very, very interesting employer. Yeah.
I was asking myself, do you yourself use AI technology in your daily life or in your life as a minister? So is there something you do? Obviously, I assume you do not do your taxes with...
I play a bit with ChatGPT, and then I prompt, suggest me the speech a German finance minister would deliver in front of a demonstration of German farmers.
That's exactly.
And if you have witnessed,
can I show you my next question?
Okay.
I was asking myself if GPT wrote this speech, because it's an unusual speech for you.
Yeah.
It was not your best speech.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I think artificial intelligence would have been worse. Why? Artificial intelligence would have been taught by former old speeches I have delivered in the past in front of farmers. And the last speeches I delivered in front of farmers, they were demonstrating against the CDU. And I was a politician of the opposition. So, and if an artificial intelligence would have been taught by my former speeches in front of farmers, I would have been in the situation to deliver an opposition politician's speech at Monday, but now I'm finance minister. So I would have failed.
Okay. Yeah. So last question about taxes and customs. So, for example, in France, right?
Yeah.
They built a system automatically identifying pools, which is really funny because
pools. Swimming pools.
Yeah, everyone has a swimming pool, but nobody pays taxes for it. So they had this Google project together with Google and Capgemini, to identify the pools, and they earned a lot of money.
I'm against taxes for pools.
That's news. That's news. And in the US IRS, they are using AI to look into people that have more than $1 million revenue per year, and to just check if everything's all right. So what I'm asking myself: will AI be will AI check German taxpayers one day? Do you think that will ever happen? Can make news
yes,
now?
It could be possible that the public administration will use artificial intelligence to look if a declaration is plausible. So if it meets the expectations from the past, and give some warning light for a civil servant. Please look at this declaration because here's something unclear. But I think we should not use artificial intelligence to put a network of detailed controls of our private lives. This, I would think, is not the right perspective. But as a tool for civil servants, I think artificial intelligence could serve very well. And in a more general perspective, AI helps people to be more efficient, but we need the responsibility of civil servants to make the decisions in the end. It's if you go by feet or if you use a bicycle, you are faster, but to make the decision about the direction is yours.
Okay. Jonas, I promised that we talk about the lean and the smart state. So Aleph Alpha specializes in foundation models for enterprises and the government. And you're doing real stuff already in that space. There's, for example, one system called F13, which sounds super sexy, working with Baden-Württemberg, a German state, and analyzing whatever they have, and it gives a recommendation. There's something like a Ministervorlage function or something. I forgot. So can you explain what you're doing there? It's the real shit. It's not like chatbots.
No, yeah. There's some great German words in there, like Beschlussvorlage.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. No, the idea is that in these situations, it's critical that you're using the right information. And it's information that like some custom, like general purpose chatbot cannot provide you with. And you also need information that is more than just one reply. Some of the critical things we have to take responsibility for, they're not just, here's a chatbot and then I'll get a reply and I guess it's mostly right. Right? So basically what we're doing, and the sexy name is coming from the key, the function key that's missing on the keyboard. Right? Oh. So it's F13 is missing, right? So it's the function that we didn't have.
Okay.
Right. So that's kind of the idea, and yeah, it is already in like it has like 300,000 users, something like that.
Do they really use it, or is it just?
They do. It is test. It is in test, right? So it's not like the system everybody relies on. But for example, this kind of there's some functions, and of course we're checking how often they have been used, and they've been used in the tens of thousands. So there's some heavy use there, but it is version 0.0, right? It's not a final product. We haven't solved the digitization of government yet, right? But I think it's super cool, and why I like that is because it's pretty complex. It is highly specialized internal processes. It's like Word documents that need to follow a certain format. They're multi-page, and they have to be deployed with like confidential internal information that needs to be kind of processed in a way where the human can have transparency where it's coming from. And all these are things that like a simple B2C chatbot cannot give you. Right? And all the people we're talking with in like legal, in finance, in health, they all say it's cool like chatbot if you want to write a poem for your mom's birthday, but if you want to take responsibility for something that's really critical, you need more than just that. And this is really what we're specializing on.
You also have projects with SAP and other big companies about kind of explaining the companies to themselves, and you can talk to the data repository of them and stuff like. So can you give us some examples? They are all under NDA, I assume. So speak freely.
Yeah, don't tell the press. No, I mean one of the things that we're doing with SAP, they're a great partner, is like SAP has this kind of slogan, intelligent enterprise, right? So they're transforming themselves as a platform that can handle, that can support the human and give the human superpower to manage the complexity of international enterprises, which is like one of the biggest complexity you could ever think of. And so one of the things we're tackling with them is the modeling, the improvement, the connection, and the semi-automation of business processes.
What does that even mean?
Business processes?
Can you give an example that I understand?
So a business process might be something like an order to cash. Like so if you're like a big international enterprise and you receive an order, and then what needs to happen until you receive cash, and what are called the things that can go wrong, and you need to check, and it depends on whether something is maybe on like export regulation, right? So there are all kinds of things that can go wrong, right? So it's if you just have like a hot dog stand and you're selling a hot dog, your order to cash is pretty simple. But if you're a multinational enterprise, right, and maybe you have like goods that are under heavy regulation, there's export controls, there's dual use and all that, right? These can become rather complex, and then it depends on whether you're shipping from the European Union, you're shipping from the US, and so these enterprises, they have hundreds of thousands of processes, and they're all rather complex. And there are people that are doing nothing for the whole day, but thinking about how to optimize them, and there's best practice, and of course SAP is at the very core of all that, right? So this is a great example of where, like, I believe that in a few years, we'll look back at today's white-collar work the same way we now look back at the backbreaking manual labor we did kind of before the last industrial revolutions hit us. Kind of said, oh, how could we have people suffer so much, right? And a lot of white-collar work, and I'm including myself in that, is like a lot of stupid stuff, a lot of unnecessary, uninspiring, hard work that's stressful, that's overwhelming, and AI gives us superpowers to tackle that.
Mr. Lindner, your ministry did something really smart.
Sounds ironic. Yeah?
No.
As if it's an
you built
exception to be smart. Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
You built together with Bundesdruckerei a digital atlas, right? So a data structure for the whole administration, which sounds smart because then you can analyze this with AI and do super smart new things, right? And when I said you spend a lot of money, 55 million euros were spent on this system or will be spent. That's what in the Haushalt, what I found in the Haushalt in the kleine Anfrage. And I was wondering, so what happened? Where is it? So
we're working on it,
cool.
And the idea is to have an overview which data we own. So you can train AI only if you have data. And the public sector owns so much data, but we don't know where, what, is it updated or outdated. And so now we are making efforts to make this data accessible. And I wonder why in the past nobody had the idea to do such a project or to implement such a project, but we did now, and I hope that we will see the results very soon.
This quarter, that's what you said, 2022? We will have results this year in the first quarter?
I hope so.
Okay.
Well, in the time of my office.
Okay. So this quarter, that's news. So you are one of the few in the German government who have consistently harbored a positive outlook on AI. That's a fact. So what's your broader vision for AI's role in transforming, well, the German public institutions?
Well, let me start with one impression. My impression when I talk to people in Germany is too often that people ask, what does AI to me? How will it change the way I work, the way I live? And to ask what does it to me, there is, well, the idea of a kind of suffering. And I think we should change the narrative and should ask, what does AI for me? So in which way can it improve, for example, the way I meet my professional responsibilities, like you mentioned. And think about customs, for example. I've mentioned it. It is extremely, well, necessary, but not too exciting to combine goods to the right line in the sheet to see how much a customs one has to pay. And to make this easier in an automatically accessed way, changes completely the job satisfaction and allows people more leverage and to do more qualified tasks. And this will change public administration. And frankly, we have a problem to recruit qualified people for the public administration. I'm not talking, no, I don't make this joke. Don't make this joke. I think it's recorded here. And so,
yes.
And this problem will be getting worse in the next decade. And so AI is one solution to keep the public administration running, probably faster and more effective with less people, which make the public administration cheaper as well. And so I see opportunities.
You once had an election slogan. It was called "Digital First, Concerns Second."
Yes.
You got tiny little shitstorms for this slogan. I
usually get shitstorms from left-wing parties and left-wing magazines. Yeah.
Okay, just another day. Just another day in your life with the wrong slogan. I wanted to say a friendly thing. I thought the slogan was really cool for Germany, especially because Germans are hesitant about change and they don't want to change.
Well, I think one problem is that some people or even journalists, they take even advertising slogans literally and not seriously. When I say digital first, bedenken second, it means, and I'm still convinced it's right, we should look at the opportunities and not always at the risks. It does not mean to be blind that there are possible risks, but you can be possessed by the risks, or you can try to find the opportunities and a way to deal with the risks. This was the idea, and it's the same with artificial intelligence. Yes, of course, we need a kind of regulation. We need it, but we should avoid obstacles, especially for European companies, startups, to start with their algorithms and their models. And so we should make a choice. Do we want to have only systems coming from the US or China, or do we want a future for European companies? And this is why we have to be very sensitive when it comes to regulation, not to build too high obstacles. What does this mean in concrete terms? I'm very much in favor for transparency, but when it comes to prohibitions, I'm a bit reluctant. And the political discourse in Brussels tends to prohibitions, and I think we have to be aware that we could put our opportunities at risk.
What's wrong with the Germans? So maybe you can explain this. So, for example, so we have something like 55% of the people use e-government services. In France, it's 90%. In the EU, it's something like 75%. So we are kind of really reluctant to use digital tools to do something. If you look to France, they published a whole zoo of new AI applications for the citizens, right, already. We didn't do that. What's wrong with us? I mean, you're liberals. You can say something loud.
Yeah, I'm saying something loud. Okay. I have been criticized by you some minutes before. Well, I think one of our problems is that many of the services are not known to people.
Not known to people?
Not known. People do not know what applications are already available and how convenient they are already.
The Elster scanning service. You can advertise.
There are private sector applications which use the Elster technique, and for example, who knows that you can ask the Flensburg authorities about your points?
Everybody knows. So all the
with
Germans.
Digital means. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I do not know if everyone knows it. So there are much more applications. Many people do not know, and frankly, of course, we can do even better to make them more convenient. You have mentioned Elster, which is a start, and not we have not seen the finishing flag of this application, but we are making progress, and the more and more we are making progress with our offerings, people may accept them.
So let's talk.
Sagen Sie immer. Ja.
Oh yeah.
How,
Mr. Lindner, thank you.
Can you give us a bit of an insight? The readers of ZEIT online with an online magazine, and on the other hand, the paperwork.
Insight in what sense? What do you mean?
The quote. How many of your readers read exclusively online, and how many paper? 50-50. Okay, only 50-50.
The CEO is here, so why would I answer this question? Right?
So only 50-50. Why is that? Is your app not convenient enough? Yeah.
I can't correct my CEO now, can I? No.
Yeah,
it's
But without kidding, we can do better. On the one hand, public administration can be better in Germany, faster, more convenient. One portal you can use every public services, and on the other hand, we can ask people to use it and to get experienced with it. I don't want to advocate for the status quo. Don't misunderstand me. But we are not at the starting point. We have made progress, but we are not Estonia. We are still Germany, unfortunately.
You should do more advertising in good magazines.
More advertising. Ministry of Finance. Okay. I won't answer the question. So let's talk about money. Jonas, there's one silly thing. If you told me 2 years ago that you had this little startup in Germany and you just got a Series B investment of $500 million, I would have strewn flowers on your way and children choirs singing for you and stuff like that.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Today, I think to myself, $500 million for an AI project? Is this really a serious project? So something happened here. What do you think? There's an arms race going on with tens of billions of dollars per startup. Right. So how do you compete? What's your thinking about this?
So there's certainly that. You're absolutely right. There's an arms race, and the money we are seeing in the headlines is really just the tip of the iceberg, because the big tech giants internally are readjusting themselves. Right? And these are giant battleships basically getting in position. And they're doing this not because they have all this kind of free money and they don't know what to do with that, but they're doing this because they know that now is the last opportunity to fight for dominance in the future. Right? If we miss this train, if we now keep occupying ourselves with like doubts and kind of turn in circles a few times and then we wait a little bit, then the train will have departed the station. And so, of course, I would have also probably taken $1 billion or 5, but that's not the most critical thing. The most critical thing is that we now prove that we can do it as well, that we and our partners and customers in Europe, we can basically take this industrial revolution by the horns and kind of tackle it and create value here and transform ourselves. And we're not waiting for some US or Chinese company that can basically sell us the solution. And once we prove that we can do that, we can raise more money, right? Okay. I mean, and eventually we will need to raise more money, because this is really like the fastest industrial revolution ever. The potential for value creation is giant. And for me, in this funding round, it was even more important than the kind of money. And I like big numbers, so don't get me wrong. But it was even more important that we have these partners, like a Bosch, like an SAP, like a Schwarz Group, like Hewlett Packard Enterprise, Bora. And all these are partners first and investors second. So they're all people that we're working with sometimes for years. And so we were in a lucky position that we could reject a lot of offers for investors that basically just wanted to write a check. And we now were able to bring in partners that we are co-innovating with, that we are in a partnership where we are strengthening their position. And of course, they're helping us to prove that we can do it here as well. Yeah, and then we'll raise more money.
But you will need more money, right?
Absolutely. And of course, so we were very capital efficient. I'm blaming my Swabian mother.
And so we will continue to be capital efficient. Right? We can be smart about how to allocate resources. But this is like the transition that we're in. This will go on for a while, and this will radically change the world. We'll look back in like 10 years and 20 years, and we won't recognize what's going on. When you think about it, it's just like 20 years ago when the internet got really big. Right? And how has the internet changed everything? And this is bigger than the internet. This is faster than the internet. So, of course, and the US companies want to dominate, as they should. Right? It's their mission for their shareholders to make the most out of that. But then it's our mission to stand strong and to build sovereignty and to build the future according to our values. Why do you prefer... So, Did you prefer German investors? Or did
yes.
you really turn away the likes of Nvidia and go to Mistral? We don't need.
No, I turned away a lot of investors, all kinds of investors from all kinds of regions. I preferred investors that are partners and that have mission alignment. So one of the things that was kind of a heated conversation was, so in the past we published all our research. So we basically we hid nothing, all the methods, we wrote papers about it, we open sourced the first kind of multimodal model.
Sam wouldn't do that.
No, right? And with good reason, right? I mean, those are smart people. There's a good reason why they're not doing this anymore. But we wanted to keep doing that. So we had to find investors.
Why?
Well, because I believe, I've always been complaining about it, so I just have to stay true to my word. I've always been complaining about saying that if you are serious about an academic contribution, it needs to be reproducible. You cannot have an academic contribution and then kind of praise yourself as this kind of AI R&D company, and that is basically a marketing flyer. Right? And so that was important to us, and I believe it is possible to be transparent about our innovation, while at the same time capture a lot of value. But of course, there are people that disagree, and there are smart people that disagree. So I was selecting for partners, and I was selecting for mission alignment. And just because we're coming out of Germany, the people that we've been working with the longest are German companies, and we have the best relationship. But we've also been working with Hewlett Packard Enterprise for a long time, so we were very happy to have them as investors and partners as well.
I try to understand how much the US is spending on AI these days. And if you add up everything, so defense and non-defense budgets, the USA alone will spend over $5 billion of public funds. I'm only talking about public funds on AI this year alone. I think that's as much as Germany spent over the last 5 years. So do we need more subsidies? You hate subsidies, I know, but there's a race going on and we have to do more. Could it be an option to invest massively in this space? Giving speeches again in Berlin, people yelling at you, and you're routing money to AI research. Wouldn't that be a great idea?
Yes, and this is exactly what we try to do. We have to rearrange the composition of our public budget, which means we have to stop certain subsidies so that we can introduce state aid or subsidies for other sectors. Because, well, we cannot afford to enter a subsidy race with the USA by financing old industries and new industries at the same time. Our fiscal possibilities are limited. And so we are doing this. And having said this cannot be the role of the German government, paying subsidies. Our responsibility is to improve the framework conditions and to maintain a regulatory framework which allows companies to be successful within the European Union. It is our responsibility to fund research. For example, we are making efforts at universities and research facilities that they focus more and more on artificial intelligence, and we have managed, I think, last year to fulfill the objective to have 100 chairs for artificial intelligence at German universities. And then now the most important objective is we need to improve the access to private sector company. And this is our European disadvantage compared to the US. It's not the public sector money. Our disadvantage is the private sector company. Because for example, insurances, they invest in sovereign bonds or real estate assets, but not in venture capital or other alternative investments. And so we are making efforts towards a capital markets union in the European Union. And in Germany, I'm preparing something similar to the TB initiative of France, so that private sector companies will have an easier access to private sector funding. And this is our disadvantage.
Mm-hmm. Do we need, so I was wondering when, for example, the AI Act was in discussion, why didn't we in parallel discuss about a European investment in AI? So this just...
Actually, we are doing it. We have the European Tech Champion Initiative. I initiated it with my French colleague in January 21, and the idea is to finance deep tech investments. It's a fund of funds. Germany contributed 1 billion euro. It's just a starting point, but it's exactly the idea. We want to raise public sector money for deep tech investments, and not for the seed phase, but for later stage when it comes to investments for growth or getting market share or entering the international markets.
Do you agree?
I agree with a lot of things that have been said. So first of all, I don't want subsidies. I want to be strong on a free market. This is what I need to do eventually, right? We cannot have like long-term zombie enterprises that only can survive through like subsidies. Like, this is not, like, we don't do ourselves a service here, right? What I would love, and you mentioned that, is a level playing field, an environment where we can compete with companies that have chains of monopolies combined together. So they can basically use two monopolies they have to basically crush a third. I think that's what I would love. And then basically just the opportunity to apply our technology. What we're doing in Baden-Württemberg is a great first start, right? If we can modernize, if we can digitalize our European government, which is something we desperately need anyway, right? We don't find the workforce. We have to modernize anyway. So if we are doing that, we are creating an environment that is attractive for companies, and at the same time we're building a high-tech industry that is helping us leapfrog technology and build modern solutions. And I mean, this is something that the US is doing as well. Like they think they're very entrepreneurial as a state, which I think is a great thing to do. And certainly I believe that for regulation, we as the kind of dead last of the big power blocks, we should think carefully about diverting creative energy from innovation to compliance, right? Because we desperately need to catch up.
You the day before yesterday, you told me on the phone in a private phone call, and I'm sure you would have allowed me to cite that if I had asked you. Germany pays 10 billion for someone basically opening their offices in Germany. There is enough money. So we're talking
about Intel.
I know.
Yeah.
So I like that sentence, right? Talking about Intel.
I mean, there is enough money. We are spending a lot of money.
Yeah. In the right things, that's the question. There are subsidies for Intel building.
And I'm not saying that that's not a smart move. Don't get me wrong, right? But I'm saying that the same amount of money for AI companies would be serious money.
Yes.
But
any opinion on that? Any opinions on that?
But yes,
from the other side.
Yes, my opinion is we have a subsidy race in the chip and semiconductor industry. We have to have resilience in our supply chains. And on the other hand, yes, there are subsidies for artificial intelligence, but if we strengthen the private financial capacities, our artificial companies, which are leading, they can be funded by the private sector. And this is the difference to the chip and semiconductor industry. Without public sector spending and subsidies, you won't see fabs in Germany or on European soil, but you will see successful AI companies funded privately.
So you're saying basically we shouldn't worry about our next funding round. It's going to be good.
Now
I trust you.
All right.
In this private phone call, you also mentioned that there were other countries. So what I'm talking about now is agility of nations, right? You told me that when the AI Act was in discussion, people called you from other countries telling you, hey, we have much more interesting rules here in country. So which countries called?
So I have been pitched a relocation, basically saying that we have much more favorable environments in general, which actually might be true. So
the UK is much better than...
It might be. I'm not the expert on kind of everything UK, right? But
so
there are there are countries that are approaching industrial policy very different than the European Union, right? And are fighting for relocation and fighting to get the best companies located in their premises or in their environments. And so I think that's certainly something where I feel, talking to Brussels, which we did quite a bit, is that it was the first foremost concern was to be first and to regulate and to kind of be proud of, like, we were the first that got this out, and it was kind of it's holistic and it kind of has all the bells and whistles and kind of everything. We thought about everything, and there was the concerns about how can we make sure that the companies that we have that are developing in the European Union get all the support and can grow to be international champions.
The CEO of Deutsche Bank yesterday at the ZEIT panel here in Davos with Uwe, who's also here, said, if I remember it correctly, Europe seems to be the Silicon Valley of regulation. And I found that a really funny thing. But if you think about it, it's maybe our major problem at the moment, right?
Yeah, exactly. In all sectors, it's a problem. I think the fascinating idea of the European Union is a single market. A room where people have everyday new chances, and we are about to make out of this fascinating project a project of red tape, and we should change the direction. We need a level playing field, and we need smart regulation. But we tend to over-engineer the regulation so that almost nothing is possible or is extremely costly within the European Union. And I think we have already met the limits, and we have to reduce the bureaucratic burden for all sectors.
What is new for me as an observer of political processes, in this case, the little startups were a big lobby, right? So Mistral and you, for example, you were really fighting behind the scenes in a way I've never seen before for these small companies, right? And you're not Microsoft, you're not Google, you're not Apple, but you managed to change a lot of the laws that were in discussion, right?
I believe so, a little bit, right?
Oh yeah.
If everybody would have listened to me, we would have different regulation altogether. No, but I mean, the interesting thing, and I really appreciate that, is that, and sometimes pretty late in the process, is that Germany and like the German leaders noticed that we have a strong company like Aleph Alpha and others developing, and France noticed that, hey, wait a minute, there's Mistral, right? And so they were listening, and maybe we started this process with the assumption that we would have no shot at this. Maybe we went into this thinking that, oh, there will be no European AI, right? So we can just write the rules to kind of get on the nerves of big tech, of US big tech that are entering our markets, and we can force them to put pop-ups on everything and disclaimers on everything, right? And we can kind of make lives difficult for them. And then we noticed suddenly, wait a minute, we have phenomenal teams, we have companies that are readjusting themselves, we have strong players, and maybe we should be mindful if those strong players tell us, we think it's dangerous what you're doing currently.
But you also shifted the risk from companies like you building the large models, right, that are super complex, rather to the German, for example, German Mittelstand, and they have to apply the technology and they take all the risk if something.
No, not at all. They are all the compliance, all the regulation that any of our customers have. What are they doing to meet this? They're knocking on our door. They're kind of saying, if you want to supply us, if we should be your customer, you need to give us everything we need to have to fulfill regulation. So all the regulation is hitting us full front and center, right? So it's not like we cannot, and the German Mittelstand cannot be burdened with AI regulation, because it's quite a huge amount of rules that we're putting up there. So it could have gotten much worse. There were some drafts and that really scared me in the meantime. I think what we have now is not the end of the world, but we should now focus all energy on innovation and on value and on building the future. If we now spend more time with ever more regulation and red tape, like Christian said, then it's all for nothing, right?
Yeah.
When we talk about regulation, we talk about, well, the fear, the substantial fear that AI is going wild and doing something strange, and we can't control it anymore. And you're advertising that your AI is kind of transparent, it can explain itself. I was wondering if that's really true. So all the large models have the same problems.
Yeah.
They are too complex to explain themselves, right? So what's your pitch at
Well,
that?
we solved it.
You solved it. So can you explain it just in a nutshell?
All right, I'll explain it, right? So, and please stop me if I'm going too nerdy. So what these models are doing...
We have 9 minutes.
All right.
We get a little bit over time.
No, I don't need 9 minutes.
Okay.
I need 2 minutes.
Perfect.
All right. So what these models are doing and how they're working is they are finding patterns connecting word tokens to one another in high-dimensional space. So it's a very high-dimensional space. And so it's basically all patterns that are, if this word is here and this word is here and then its relationship to this word, then the next word is this. And this is all they can do. And so this is also why basically fear of like conscious AI is bollocks, right? This is we're not anywhere close to that. And so we have like these patterns, and they are intransparent, they are black boxes, not because they're not deterministic or you cannot kind of check the math, because the math is actually pretty simple, but because there's hundreds of billions of parameters. And we found a way to change the attention mechanism, that's the mechanism that kind of connects every word to every word, to change it and introduce a variable into this attention mechanism that allows us to surface these patterns that this stochastic parrot has learned. And so now you can see for every claim the AI can do, you can see not only the positive sources, so kind of the AI thinks because of this observation, because of this knowledge, that this is the right thing, but also the negative sources. So there's a conflict, this kind of contradicts with that. And so you have the full context of positive and negative sources, which I believe you need to take responsibility. And this is our method. We invented that. We published this. It was at NeurIPS, like the biggest machine learning conference, as a paper a few weeks ago. And we open sourced the method. So here we go.
I'm getting kill signs already. I'll ignore them. I talked to our hosts. Okay, so we come to an end. Last question for the two of you. If you had kids, so I have 3 kids, and I have to raise them, and I have to think about what their future will be, and recommend kind of their education to them. They ignore it totally, but you can try. What would your recommendation be in a world that is changed by software in a way we see at the moment? So what's the future of kind of education and learning?
So I think our education system is horribly anachronistic as is, right? But there are some things that are important to have a successful life, which is like creativity and being okay with yourself, and your ability to have healthy conflicts and to realize your own needs, right? So kind of these human things, right, that we don't really teach. So a lot of the kind of stupid knowledge work where we're kind of memorizing things line by line, right? This will go away the same, the kind of manual labor went away mostly, right, in the last industrial revolutions. What I worry about for the next generations is that, and this is why this industrial revolution is different, is that you could say, okay, well, we lost semiconductors, too bad. Well, we lost social networks, too bad, right? But this technology, this will build the world our children will interact with. And so the companies that are shipping this technology, they will decide what kind of thoughts, what kind of ideas they want to instill in the minds of a generation. And so when you talk into ChatGPT, every answer is very Californian.
That is true.
And so you might say, that's better than Chinese one, right? And that's maybe also true. But I think it's our liberal democracy that's at stake here. We should not accept that some multinational company decides what is a right thing to say and what is a forbidden thought.
You are, by the way, a member of the Liberal Party. I forgot to mention this. You have the last word.
He could become a member of. Well, my answer is quite similar. I think it's on the one hand competencies and methods, and on the other hand it's personality and character. We are living already in a multi-optional society. And we will have much more options in the future. And what matters then is a character and personality to make reasonable decisions about your own life and to judge wisely about society. And this is nothing you can delegate to any kind of artificial intelligence. It's by values. In the end, it's by heart. And so we have to get rid of all the old stuff and concentrate on strengthening personalities.
Thank you, dear audience, for staying in the sauna with us and being so lively. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Jonas.
Thanks.